Namo Buddhaya, the large sutra on perfect wisdom, the Shatasahasrika Prajnaparamita Sutram, the chapter 37th, unsupported anywhere. Subhuti. Inactive is the perfection of wisdom, the Lord, because all dharmas cannot be apprehended. The endeavours of the cognition of entities. The endeavours with regard to the skandhas. Subhuti. How, Lord, should a bodhisattva course in perfect wisdom? Lord. Here, Subhuti, if a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom doesn't course in form, etc., then he courses in perfect wisdom. The endeavours with regard to the impermanence, etc., of the skandhas. If he doesn't course in the idea that form is not permanent or impermanent, not is or ill, etc., then he courses in perfect wisdom. And why? That form doesn't exist in such a way that impermanent or permanent, is or ill, self or not self, attractive or repulsive, can be predicated of it, and so for feeling, etc. The endeavours with regards to the completeness or incompleteness of the skandhas. Moreover, if a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom doesn't course in the idea that form, etc., is incomplete or complete, then he courses in perfect wisdom. And why? For what is the incompleteness or completeness of form, etc., to all knowledge that is not form, etc., to all knowledge? If also thus he doesn't course, then he courses in perfect wisdom. The endeavours with regard to non-attachment to the skandhas, Subhuti. It is wonderful, O Lord, to what an extent both the attachment and the non-attachment of the bodhisattvas, the great beings, have been explained, the Lord. So it is, Subhuti. They have been well explained by the Tathagata, the Arhat, the fully enlightened Buddha. Moreover, Subhuti, if a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom doesn't course in the idea that form is with attachment or without attachment, then he courses in perfect wisdom. Coursing thus, the Bodhisattva, the great being, doesn't perceive form as it arises with or without attachment. The endeavours with regard to the immutability of perfect wisdom. Subhuti. It is wonderful, O Lord, how demonstration does not diminish this deep perfection of wisdom, nor does non-demonstration diminish it. Demonstration doesn't increase it, and also non-demonstration does not increase it. The Lord. So it is Subhuti, not demonstration of the perfection of wisdom does not diminish, demonstration does not increase it. It is as if a Tathagata should during his entire life speak in praise or dispraise of space, and yet the volume of space would not increase when he praises it, or would not diminish when he doesn't praise it. For space doesn't increase through praise, nor does it diminish through non-praise. The endeavours with regard to the absence of an agent. Or it is as with an illusory man, praise doesn't make him grow, nor does he waste away when there is no praise. Praise doesn't win him over, and when there is no praise, he is not frustrated. Just so the true nature of dharmas is just as much as it is, whether it be demonstrated or not. The endeavour to do that which is hard to do. The ultimate aim is hard to realize. Subhuti. A doer of what is hard is the Bodhisattva who, while coursing in perfect wisdom, doesn't lose heart when the perfection of wisdom is being preached and doesn't mentally turn away from it, who persists in making endeavors about the perfection of wisdom and who doesn't turn back on the supreme enlightenment. And why? This development of perfect wisdom is like the development of space. But in space there can be no development of perfect wisdom, and the perfection of wisdom cannot be conceived in space, nor the other perfections, nor the skandhas, etc., nor the supreme enlightenment. Subhuti. I pay homage to the Bodhisattva, the great beings who are armed with this armor. Those who, for the sake of beings, put on the armor, want to exert themselves and to struggle for the sake of space, and they want to liberate space armed with a great armor, are the bodhisattvas who put on the armor for the sake of dharmas which are like space. The training is difficult. They want to get rid of space or the permanent. Those who, for the sake of beings, put on the armor. The activity is difficult. A great perfection of vigor has the bodhisattva, who wants to know the supreme enlightenment for the sake of beings. And why? It is this great usually cause, and we are quite full were quite full of Tathagatas, like a thicket of reeds, a bamboo wood, a sugarcane forest, a forest of Sacharamsara, a reed, or like a rice field. And if these Tathagatas would demonstrate Dharma for an eon or for the remainder of an eon, and if each single Tathagata would lead countless beings to Nirvana, still one could not conceive of the depletion or repletion of the world of beings. And why? On account of their unreality of beings, on account of their isolatedness. And the same would be true if all the world system in all the 10 directions were considered. It is by way of this method that I say space would those want to liberate who for sake of beings want to know full enlightenment. The endeavor is not barren. Thereupon it occurred to a certain man, I pay homage, O Lord, to the perfection of wisdom of the Lord, in which no dharma is either produced or stopped, the mass of morality is not conceived in it, the mass of concentration, etc., to the fruit of stream wind, or etc., is not conceived in it. Shaka. If Venerable Subhuti, a Bodhisattva, were to make endeavors about this deep perfection of wisdom, what would his endeavors be about? Subhuti. About space, he would make endeavors if he would endeavor to train in this deep perfection of wisdom. The endeavor is not conditioned by anyone else. Chakra. I will arrange for the shelter, defense, and protection of that son or daughter of good family who will take up, etc., this perfection of wisdom. Subhuti. Can a chakra see that dharma which you wish to shelter, defend, and protect? Chakra. No, I can't. Subhuti. When a son or daughter of good family stand in perfect wisdom as it has been expounded, then just that will be their shelter, defense, and protection. On the other hand, when they are lacking in the perfection of wisdom as it has been expounded, then hostile men and ghosts will get a chance to harm them. One would think of arranging shelter, defense, and protection for space. One would think of arranging shelter, defense, and protection for the Bodhisattvas who course in perfect wisdom. What do you think, Kaushika? Are you able to arrange shelter, defense, and protection of a magical illusion, a mirage, a dream, a nico, a reflection, an image, a city of the Gandharvas? Chakra, not so, Venerable Subhuti. Subhuti. So it is Kaushika, one who would think of arranging shelter, defense, and protection for bodhisattvas who course in perfect wisdom, would wear himself out to no purpose. What do you think, Kaushika? Are you able to arrange shelter, defense, and protection for a Tathagata or for a Tathagata's magic creation? Chakra, not so, Venerable Subhuti. Subhuti. So it is Kaushika, one who would think of arranging shelter, defense, and protection for bodhisattvas who course in perfect wisdom would wear himself out to no purpose. What do you think, Kaushika? Are you able to arrange shelter, defense, and protection for the Dharma element, for the reality limit, for suchness, for the unthinkable element? Chakra, not so, Venerable Subhuti. Subhuti. Just so with the bodhisattvas. The cognition of the 7 aspects or points of comparison. Chakra. To what an extent has a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom comprehended all dharmas as like a dream, a mock show, a mirage, a nico, a reflected image, a city of the Gandharvas, an illusory magical creation? Subhuti. To the extent that the bodhisattvas do not put their minds even to the dream, or do not mind through the dream, or do not think that this is my dream, or do not mind in the dream, and so for the other 6. To that extent have they comprehended that all dharmas are like a dream, etc., the sameness of the Endeavours. Moreover, Kaushika, a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom, doesn't put his mind even to form, doesn't mind through form, doesn't mind in dream, does not think mind is dream, does not think this is a dream, and so on with the usual variations. The path of vision, the intimation of the presence of the 16 moments of the path of vision. Thereupon, through the Buddha's mind, the 4 great kings in this great Italy cosmos, and the other gods up to the coast of the pure abode, scattered heavenly sandalwood powder, and came to where the Lord was. They reverently saluted the Lord's feet with their heads and stood on one side. Thereupon, through the Buddha's mind, the minds of all these deities were impressed by the sight of 1,000 Buddhas in the act of teaching the Dharma, in these very syllables, in these very words, with monks called Subhuti asking questions about just this deep perfection of wisdom as well as demonstrating it, and with chakras, chiefs of gods, asking counter questions about it, and so for the world systems in all the 10 directions. The Lord Subhuti, just at this spot of earth, the Bodhisattva Maitreya will, after he has won supreme enlightenment, teach this very same perfection of wisdom. And just this spot of earth will the Tathagatas of this auspicious eon teach this very same perfection of wisdom after they have won the supreme enlightenment. Acceptance of cognition of Dharma is suffering, neither permanent nor impermanent. Aspect impermanent, Subhuti. By which mode, O Lord, by which characteristics, by which signs will the Bodhisattva Maitreya teach this perfection of wisdom after he has won the supreme enlightenment? The Lord. Here, Subhuti, the Bodhisattva Maitreya will, after he has won the supreme enlightenment, teach Dharma to the effect that form is not permanent or impermanent, not either or ill, not self or not self, not attractive or repulsive. That is neither bound nor freed. That is not past, future, or present, and so for everything up to the Buddha Dharmas, cognition of Dharma and suffering, both eternity and annihilation are left behind respectively. Subhuti. How again will the Bodhisattva Maitreya demonstrate Dharma after he has known the Supreme Enlightenment? The Lord. He will demonstrate Dharma to the effect that form, etc., is absolutely pure, Acceptance of subsequent cognition of suffering, pure, aspect empty. Subhuti. Perfectly pure, O Lord, the perfection of wisdom. The Lord. Because of the perfect purity of form, etc. Subsequent cognition of suffering, not produced or stopped, nor defiled or purified, aspect impersonal. Subhuti. How is it that the perfection of wisdom is perfectly pure because of the perfect purity of form, etc.? The Lord. The perfect purity of form, etc., lies in its non-production and non-stopping, its non-defilement and non-purification. Acceptance of cognition of Dharma in origination like space, aspect cause. Moreover, Subhuti, because of the perfect purity of space, is the perfection of wisdom perfectly pure. Subhuti. How is that, O Lord? The Lord. The perfection of wisdom is like space and is perfectly pure because of the non-production, non-stopping, non-defilement, and non-purification of form, etc. to all knowledge. The cognition of Dharma in origination, unstained by primary and secondary defilements, aspect origination. The perfection of wisdom is perfectly pure because of the stainlessness of space, Subhuti. How is that, O Lord? The perfection of wisdom is like space and perfectly pure because of the stainlessness of form, etc., to all knowledge. The acceptance of subsequent cognition of origination, set free, aspect product. Moreover, the perfection of wisdom is perfectly pure because of the fact that space cannot be seized upon. Subhuti. How is that, O Lord? The Lord. The perfection of wisdom is like space and perfectly pure because form, etc., to all knowledge cannot be seized upon. Consequent cognition of origination, inexpressible aspect condition. The perfection of wisdom is perfectly pure because of the inexpressibility of space. Subhuti. How is that, O Lord? Lord. Just as in space an echo is the sound of non-duality, just so the perfection of wisdom is like space, and it is perfectly pure because form, etc., to all knowledge and are inexpressible. Acceptance of cognition of Dharma in stopping, unobtainable, aspect stopping. The perfection of wisdom is perfectly pure because of the incommunicability of space. Subhuti. How is that, O Lord? Lord. There can be no conventional utterance about space, just so the perfection of wisdom is perfectly pure because form, etc., to all knowledge are incommunicable. Cognition of Dharma in stopping without a ground for apprehension. Aspect calm quietude. The perfection of wisdom is perfectly pure because, like space, it offers no basis for apprehension. Subhuti. How is that, O Lord? The Lord. Because there can be no basis for the apprehension of space. Just so the perfection of wisdom is perfectly pure, because form is a terrestrial knowledge of no basis for apprehension. Acceptance of subsequent cognition and stopping purity aspect sublime. The perfection of wisdom is perfectly pure because all dharmas are not produced or stopped, not defiled or purified. Subhuti. How is that, O Lord? Lord? The perfection of wisdom is perfectly pure because of the absolute purity of form, etc., to all knowledge. Subsequent cognition of stopping, non-production of all kinds of disease, aspect definite escape. Subhuti. If some son or daughter of good family will take up this perfection of wisdom buried in mind, preach it, study it, and wisely attend to it, then he will have no disease in his eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, or mind. He will not have tiny limbs or a senile body. Nor will that son or daughter of good family die in a violent death, and many thousands of deities will follow closely behind them so as to hear the Dharma, the gods of the four great kings, etc., the gods of the pure abode, will follow closely behind them. On the 8th, 14th, and 15th day, a large number of deities will congregate where that son or daughter of good family preach the Dharma and teach this perfection of wisdom. And when he teaches this perfection of wisdom, that son or daughter of good family will beget a great deal of merit, immeasurable, incalculable, measureless, inconceivable, and incomparable, the Lord. So it is, Subhuti, so it is. That son or daughter of good family will beget a great deal of merit, immeasurable, incalculable, measureless, inconceivable, and incomparable. When they teach this perfection of wisdom, on the 8th, 14th, and 15th day, and a congregation of deities will follow closely behind them. And why? Because this perfection of wisdom is a great treasure. Acceptance of cognition of Dharma in the path, cessation of the states of war, aspect path. When this most precious perfection of wisdom is properly attended, it will liberate from the health and the animal world, the world of Yama, and from poverty among men. One will be reborn in good families among warriors, Brahmins, and wealthy householders, or among the various kinds of gods. This perfection of wisdom is a donor of the fruit of extreme winner, etc., to the supreme enlightenment. And why? For in this perfection of wisdom have the 10 wholesome paths of action been explained in detail. In it all the spiritual practices are conceived as well as their fruits up to the Tathagatas themselves. That is why it is called the most precious perfection. Cognition of Dharma in the path, absence of thought construction, aspect, correct method. But in this most precious perfection, no Dharma whatsoever is produced or stopped, defiled or purified, acquired or rejected. And why? Because there are no dharmas which could be produced and stopped, defiled or purified, acquired or rejected. Nor can, in this most precious perfection, any dharma be apprehended, which is wholesome or unwholesome, worldly or supplemental, with or without outlook, condition or unconditioned. By this method, this most precious perfection is without basis. Acceptance of subsequent cognition of the path, absence of contact with science, aspect, progress. Knowing this most precious perfection of wisdom stained by any dharma whatsoever. And why? Because those dharmas cannot be apprehended by which it could be stained, and therefore this perfection of wisdom is free from all stains. Subsequent cognition of the path, no genesis of the difference between the cognition and its verbal expression, aspect factor of release. Subhuti, the Bodhisattva, the great being, who courses in perfect wisdom, does not cognize, does not apprehend, does not get delayed by thinking multiple thoughts. Then he courses in perfect wisdom and develops wisdom, pleases the Buddhas and lords, and passes on from Buddha field to Buddha field, so as to honor, revere, and worship the Buddhas and lords, passing on from Buddha field to Buddha field, maturing beings and purifying the Buddha field, he will reach all knowledge. The resume of first to third. The indication that the first topic, all knowledge, is concluded, and again, Subhuti, this perfection of wisdom doesn't bring near any dharma nor remove one. It doesn't show one up or define one, doesn't bestow one or take one away, doesn't produce or stop one, doesn't annihilate one or make it eternal. it has not one single meaning of a manifold meaning, doesn't make a dharma come or go away, doesn't defile or purify one, doesn't diminish or make it grow, nor is it past, future, or present. Indication that the second topic, the knowledge of the past, is concluded. And again, Subhuti, this perfection of wisdom doesn't transcend the world of sense desire, nor does it establish it. And so with the world of form and the formless world, she doesn't bestow the perfection of given, nor does she take it away. And so with the emptiness, etc., to all knowledge. Indication that the third topic, that of the knowledge of all modes, is concluded. And again, Subhuti, this perfection of wisdom doesn't bestow the Buddha dharmas, nor take them away. And so for the dharmas of the foolish common people, the dharmas of the disciples and practical Buddhas, and the Buddha dharmas, and so for the conditioned element and the unconditioned element. Why? Whether the Tathagatas are produced in the world or are not produced fixed in this dharma Buddha of dharmas, the dharma element, the fixedness of dharma, the fixed sequence of dharmas, those that the Tathagata fully knows and realizes intuitively. Having fully known them and having realized them intuitively, he describes them, demonstrates them, uncovers them, analyzes them, enlarges on them, and reveals them. Therefore, a great many hundreds of thousands of gods who stood up high in the intermediate space called out aloud with cries of joy, waved their garments, and hurled heavenly blue, red, and white lotuses and mandarava flowers into the air. And they said, "Now indeed we see the second turning of the wheel of Dharma taking place in Jambudvipa." And when the perfection of wisdom was being expounded, many thousands of gods acquired the passion acceptance of dharmas which fail to be produced. Though this is not Subhuti the second turning of the wheel of Dharma, nor the first, nor has this perfection of wisdom been set up for the sake of turning forward any dharma or of turning it backward or on account of the emptiness of the non-existence of own being. Subhuti, what, O Lord, is the emptiness of the non-existence of own beings, in consequence of which this perfection of wisdom has not been set up for the sake of turning any dharma forward or backward? The Lord, the perfection of wisdom is empty of the perfection of wisdom, and so is the perfection of meditation empty of the perfection of meditation, etc. Subhuti, a great perfection for the Bodhisattvas, the great beings, O Lord, is this perfection of wisdom. For the own being of all dharmas is empty of the own being of all dharmas. It is thanks to the perfection of wisdom that the Bodhisattvas, the great beings, know full enlightenment. Although they do not fully know any dharma, they turn the wheel of dharma, but they do not turn any dharma forward or backward. They do not behold any dharma, nor do they demonstrate any dharma. And why? Because the dharma cannot be apprehended, which could turn forward or backward. One absolutely doesn't settle down in all dharmas in life, because emptiness doesn't proceed or recede, nor does the silence or wishless. To demonstrate that is the proclamation of the perfection of wisdom, its narration, its disclosure, its dispatching, its explanation, its analysis, its indication, its amplification, its revelation. This is the perfectly pure demonstration of the perfection of wisdom. No one has demonstrated it, no one has received it, no one has realized it. And since no one has realized it, no one has therein gone to final nirvana, nor has this demonstration of Dharma ever made anyone worthy of gifts. This is the end of the 37th chapter of the large Sutra on Perfect Wisdom, the Shatasahasrika Prajnaparamita Sutram.